Okay, so you're ready to start learning how to fly full manual with the DJI Neo. This also works if you want to learn with the Avata, but I'd highly recommend that you start with the Neo first. Now, there's a few things you're going to need. You're going to need the Neo. You're going to need the DJI FPV controller. You can't learn manual with any other controller. And then you're also going to need either the N3 goggles like this or the goggles 3. Now, to start with, we only need this. So if you're on a budget, just buy this by itself first, because we're going to do the first part of the learning on the computer with the simulator. Now, when you first get the DJI FPV remote controller 3, you need to do one thing. You need to fix this and make it stay in position like this and not bounce up and down like this one. And to do that, in the box, you'll find this little Allen key here. And you need to open up the back of this like so. And then there's 2 Allen screws there you need to do with the labeled F1 and F2. Basically, you just slacken and tighten them off until it stays in position. So it has no spring to it whatsoever. You want to get it so it just stays there. That way the throttle can be very delicately adjusted. Now you will see when people are flying FPV, they'll either do it like this, like you're playing with the Xbox or the PlayStation controllers, or you'll pinch like this. Now I've learned to pinch, and that's just down to personal choice, whether you prefer to pinch or whether to put the thumbs on top. But get that first done so it doesn't spring, and then we're ready to plug into the simulator. Now I'm on a Mac, but you could do exactly the same on a PC, and you need to go to Steam. And then we have a few choices in terms of simulators. I personally use Liftoff. And then more recently, I've gone over to Uncrashed. But I actually think Liftoff is probably the best one to learn with. It's very simple and easy to understand. Then you just need to turn the controller on and plug in USB-C to your computer. And the way I like to do it is I just go into single player, free flight. And my favorite is just the straw bale, no track. Then you want to select a drone. Now there you can go into different blueprints that people have put together. So I think that's workshop blueprints, but I haven't really played around with that. I kept it super simple, like I said, and just picked one of the official blueprints and just picked one of the slower drones. So you don't want one of the crazy 5-inch or something. So you want something nice and slow and easy to handle. You click on the drone. Now to start with, you will be in Acro mode. I would keep it in Acro unless you really struggle. If you really struggle, you can knock it into Horizon. And you just press the A button to cycle through those. So you've got Acro, 3D, Horizon, Level, and then back to Acro again. And this is where you can start to really explore the sticks. There are tutorials on here that teach you all about how to fly the drone. You can jump in and do those. But basically, the left stick is going to be your throttle. That's going to be your accelerator up and down. And it's also going to turn the drone around. So it's going to spin in this direction and that direction. So if I press left on the left stick, it's going to take us to the left. If I take right, it's going to spin us and rotate us to the right. And then the up and down is the throttle. So it accelerates straight up in the air if the drone's facing in that direction. And then if I take it all the way back down, it's just going to fall straight back down again. Now the other stick this is where it gets a little bit more complex, is that it tips the drone forwards and backwards and left to right. So if you combine the left stick and the right stick, you can do crazy maneuvers and go all the way over and flip upside down. So basically you can turn the drone in 360 degrees on a 360 degree axis. And that's where Acro can get a little bit crazy, or full manual can get a little bit crazy, but that allows you to do all the fun stuff. So once you have that basic understanding, there are videos that go into way more detail on how to actually fly. But what I done was just had that basic understanding, and then I played and played and played with just taking off and then flying around the field and just say trying to go between hay bales or set a little track. And over time, you'll create more and more control. And then I done things like, once I got more used to it, I was like, okay, I need to try and get through into this barn, and the goal was to get through one window. It'd actually be interesting to see whether I can do it now. So I was trying to get in through one window and out the other side, which I couldn't do. And I just spent literally hours trying to do that. So that's the simulator. Obviously, depending on your experience, you're going to be able to play with different things. But like I say, if Acro is way too hard, drop it down, go into something like Horizon. Now, Horizon is just a lot easier to fly because it automatically brings you back to a level surface. So if I put it in to Horizon, if I spin it around and let go of the sticks, it brings me back into Horizon again. If I tip forwards, it brings me back to Horizon. Where in Acro, if I leave it there, I stay there. If I have rotation on, it's just going to finish or stop where I leave the sticks. Now, my favorite map on the simulator, once I got a bit more used to it, was this Bando City, because you can fly through buildings. There's some pretty big gaps. And I just worked on like flying up and down the road through this gap. And then turning around and trying to get back through this one in lots of different ways. But again, turn it into a game, set a little route or a little challenge, going through a gap or over the crane. But as soon as you feel ready, let's jump outside.
Okay, we are ready for our first flight. So we're outside, ideally on a massive open space. This isn't ideal. I've got bushes and trees. We are in the middle of nowhere, so that's good. But when you're first learning, you want the least amount of things where you could lose the drone. So no water, no trees, no bushes. Ideally a big open space that has grass. But just find a location that you're nice and safe in. And all we're going to do to start with is we're going to take off in normal. We're going to put it into manual, but we're going to get very comfortable when using the pause button. This is our safety. Whenever we get into trouble, we need to know exactly where this is in a split second. So we're just going to put it down onto the floor. So we're going to put it into normal. So I'm into normal mode. I'm going to put the sticks in and down. That starts the motors. And then I'm going to take the throttle up nice and slow and just take off in normal. Okay, then we can flick the switch into manual. And I'm going to bring the dot down into that green. It's gone into manual, and then I'm going to hit the brake. I'm going to do that again, put it back into manual, align the green, we're in manual, brake. If that all feels okay, and I'm now going to fly forwards just a little bit and then hit that brake button again. So manual, fly forwards, hit the brake. And then we just repeat that process until we're 100% happy. We know exactly where the brake is. So we could go a little bit further forwards, hit the brake. Let's turn around, do it back towards ourselves. So back into manual, align the green, fly forwards, hit the brake. Once we start to get comfortable with that and we can fly forwards and backwards and we can hit the brake, then we can just try like a circle or a square. So we put it back into manual, align the dots, forwards. See if I can change direction, go around, hit the brake. What works really well is if you've got someone else with you, if they just shout brake or stop, and then you hit it. So you're not expecting it, you're not choosing the time you're doing it. Someone else is telling you when to do it, so your spotter. Back into manual. Again, just know where that brake is. At any point, hit the brake. Now your Neo will be much healthier, you'll have way more satellites, you'll have your goggles charged, and then once you're comfortable with that, we can just work on figure eights. So with figure eights, that's going to get you to fly in both directions when you're turning. So I can just put it into manual, and then I'm just going to fly this way. I'm going to turn towards the right. I'm going to come around past that middle point. Now I'm flying towards the left. Past the middle point again. Now to the right. Now obviously figure 8 is way harder than just doing circles in different directions. So if that feels too hard, just do laps. Have a little circuit that you go around. I've heard some people like go around a cycling track or a running track or something, and they're following the pathway or around the outsides of a oval. So I'm very comfortable in going right. I need to make sure that I can go left as well. And at all times, making sure I know exactly where that brake is and I can stop at any point. Like so. And you just need to do that every day, every other day, because we need it to be second nature. You can just hit the brake at any point and you can come back. Now, realistically, you're going to crash, but just make sure you do those basics: take off, brake, take off, brake. Keep the drone nice and close to you. Make sure you're in that big open space. Practice, practice, practice on the simulator. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Let me know if you have any requests for future videos. Let me know if you have any advice, because I'm still learning, and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.